Hey, what's happening, everyone? This is Midnight Brands coming to you with prep for Monday, March 13th, 2023. Very interesting overnight session, and we'll dig into it here in just a few minutes, finalizing a couple of things here, real quick, and jump right into it there. Alright, that's a nice little good segue there. Go ahead and fire back up stuff so we can get the right screen selected. There we should go. Awesome. So, hope everybody had a great weekend. It was obviously a lot of wild stuff out there with SVB and then Signature Bank, SBNY, a bunch of other stuff. So, it's gonna be really interesting to see how things progress this morning. Really big pop, and then kind of just sold it all off, and then some after the EU Open. Actually tried the short. Tried the first short and got a couple points off of it on the ES side. Tried it again and ultimately just had to forget it. Went to sleep, and sure enough, it dived just a tiny bit higher to looks like 38, 37, 40 maybe, give or take. Sorry, 39, and just pulled all the way back. So kind of a kick in the nuts, you know what I mean? But it's what happens. So we'll go ahead and get started here. We should see SVXY on the screen. It's looking, whoa, like a big knife on that one for sure. Took out the VWAP from, looks like late December, early 23. It's now trying to be supported by the 30-week SMA and the October swing AV WAP. And it's coming down a little bit in this morning session, but not terrible. So yeah, just see how that kind of continues to go. Excuse me for all that. And so I marked a bunch of these up already overnight. I'm going to turn off one thing on these real quick since we're on the ETS first. We're going to get rid of the naked VA and other things real quick until we're ready to see them again. Oh, and I'm going to double check, make sure. Yes, standard. Okay, cool. And I'm going to note a couple, since we just had such a massive range day on SVXY, I'm going to go ahead and just be safe. We'll treat the div as for that full ADR, just leave it by itself. but we are going to mark this monthly trend guide 4, and then we're going to mark this one down here below as well as possible zones. Likely not today things, but just marking them to be cognizant of the fact that they are there. Could probably actually take this one and include, do the 5110 to the 5040 something. There's actually a really big clue there on Friday. I didn't see that real time, but holy crap. That's that was right up into the ADR tier there. Okay, maybe we'll get rid of that part because that kind of skews everything. Yeah, okay. This looks pretty clean, pretty straightforward, simple, etc. So I think we're just going to mark this one up here already like this. This is, like I said, pretty straightforward on this one. Maybe there's a trend line here. I don't know. It's a quick way that I like to check is double check it like this and see, you know, what you got looking this way. That's kind of nice. And then let's double check here, see if it transfers. Nope, I don't think so from the looks of it. Maybe if you went back farther, you could find some of that transfers there like that. Just didn't look like it. Yeah, so gonna leave that there. That's a decent little trend line set up on that piece, and move along already. Yeah, and we just combined those into one bigger zone. Just kind of made sense to us, actually, as we looked at that one. So, in fact, it overlapped, so. All right, let's take a look at VIX. VIX also had the nice big spike there on Friday. Went right up to and tagged that kind of supply and demand interest area. There's not enough evidence there for it to have formed a full supply and demand zone, that is, but there's enough to call it an area of interest, and that's what it's done with that kind of thin dashed black line there. So we're going to zoom this out a little bit, and you can see there, I think I'd actually scale this down. Just, I mean, it's grabbing the highs there, but because I don't think, I mean, you've got, this would be a massive zone if you were to include the TG, and even this is kind of big here. in fact, we might even just do it like this. Just keep trend guide with OPEX there. That's tier 2 OPEX cheat. And then what's this? $28.95. So it's $1. Not even $1. Treat it more like that, I think. And then depending upon what happens, you've got some other possibilities. So, I'm just looking through here at the ADRs. Kind of interesting. Like, I'm trying to see these. Looks like a lot of times you do get the back-to-back kind of ADRs, very similar type of things. Looks like some days there's a little bit of a skip, big ADR push, big skip, big. So it'd be really interesting to see kind of how this one plays out for us here today. VIX has been kind of fading. The VIX futures have been fading, it looks like, since about 4 o'clock, which I guess lines up about with what we see on the index. Their ES at least is coming into swing AVU up from the highs right now. Anyway, the VIX one, like I said, this already kind of marked this one up. It looks pretty straightforward to me. Not going to do a whole lot else with it. And I'm going to check here to see if there's any kind of a new trend line that's formed, and I'd say not. Just from a quick glance at it, it'd just be one touch. So in my mind, that's not worth noting. Should get rid of this though. We don't need to have a needless and pointless ABCD on the chart. Yeah. And I'm going to actually take this zone here down a little bit. And grab this zone of interest. There we go. Okay, so at the highs, we have that quarterly trend guide, monthly trend guide. There's also the end of week sheet in there as we expanded it a little bit there. And then we have this one, which we also expanded to include the highs from the prior day. So that's the zone 3 there. And then down below, that one. Then we have the trend strength, annual pivot, quarterly pivot, a little bit of supply and demand there, super thin. Underneath that, we've got a royal flush zone, which is a really nice one. All right, you've got monthly trend guide, weekly pivot, 200 day SMA and 200 week SMA, along with a zone of interest, supply and demand. And then February's highs, as well as the Tier 1 OPEX cheat, which is actually the cheat for this Friday, but that was set over a month ago as to the range that was expected on VIX. And we damn near touched the Tier 3. We hit the Tier 2 and pulled back on that push Friday. You got your photo ADR, trend guide, and then below that we've got monthly pivot, 20 and 50-day EMA, supply and demand zone of interest. There's definitely a lot of possible things in here, as you can see, as we were highlighting with some nice little arrows there. So and we'll hit up SPY next here, and I believe our Buddy already marked up and notated the Q's, so I think we're gonna skip the Q's. I'm just gonna double check it real quick here while you guys see and marvel at SPY. Q's. Did he prep the Q's? Yeah, he did and he didn't. I think I'll just notate the Q's. Yeah. Okay, so SPY below that 400 mark again here. Haven't looked at this one since last night, so bear with me as we refresh ourselves and look at this one a little bit. So definitely want to collapse some of this. This is getting pretty big here. We obviously don't need this polygon from last week. These two are just right on top of each other, and I can see why. I think it would actually drag it up though and capture the top edge of supply and demand, the swing anchored VWAP there, and these other ones. I think this one, we're actually going to go and treat it like this. We're going to actually take it up to include trend guide like this. I like the way the trend strength one is set. These are really kind of small back-to-back ones with the div kind of right in the middle there. Would take this one down a little bit though to include full ADR's gap fill. The fact we're gapping up $4 though, actually that's probably not going to be full ADRs. Full ADRs is going to come up to probably quarterly pivot, and photos is going to go up to trend guide reversal. What did we trade? We traded $11 on Thursday and $9, looks like. Yeah, 884. Didn't even hit one of the extreme tiers on Friday. We came really close to it. I think we'll leave these and just treat them as div areas. I do want to leave this area wide here. I'm not going to mark it as blue because I think it's going to change ADR wise, but I think I want to include it because it's going to then incorporate gap fill, which if we did come down here, it may not be a today thing, but if we do come down here and you know, kind of retest some of these December lows, I mean, we're not terribly far off if you look from it. This is a pretty big wick here at that 374 level. Yeah. Above, so if we're at 388 and we think we get down to 378, that area, so then we need to look up here. You know, certainly it's possible on the upside to keep going if we take out that WPP trend guide area. Then, I mean, there's definitely some structure and stuff through there. But you really kind of get some more open space until you get up here to these areas here. And I'm pretty sure that if we look over here on the daily and get rid of some of this stuff here that's now obviously invalid, make sure you do your chart hygiene. You know, I mean, can't say that enough. Like, you got the wrong VWAP on there and can really mess with everything. Okay, so I would actually add one here. And we're going to add a 2-day VWAP, swing A VWAP there. Yeah. We're going to actually pull this down here a little bit to capture that and worry less about the supply and demand area. Actually, the 200 day is going to keep falling based upon price action and whatever else. It's obviously going to move slower because it's not exponential, but it's going to move slower. But it should likely come down into this zone here today. You just watch that, potential div up and collect the bottom edge supply and demand. But it does, with the way this is drawn out, at least capture this wick and stuff back here on March 1st, 2nd-ish. So, yeah, I think that is generally pretty good for SPY. We're obviously down into some buy sides there. Certainly nothing to like the super extreme by any means. Just looking at pulling things up and looking at them, I mean, we're getting there, especially on the 50. Like we're getting there, but we're just, we haven't passed into the tier ones for any of these yet. The exception being RTY, which makes sense given the regional bank ETF KRE and how it's obviously going to be performing with all this news about the banks with SVB, FRC, SBNY, etc. But definitely starting to see that that other side of the extreme here. I'm just looking at a few things here and there. Yeah, I think this is kind of interesting. I'm sure people hear that all the damn time though, but this is really going to shape up to be an interesting week. Having been through the 2008, 2009 stuff, it's kind of trading, kind of not trading at the time. It's more swing focused at that point. Had some day trades, but it's really more swing focused at that point. But I remember Bear and Lehman and the rest of that stuff, so it's going to be a really interesting week here. I just want to see something here. Nope, doesn't line up, but there is a nice little trend line there with November touch and then touch yesterday on the daily there. Let's see what we do here today. I'm going to unhighlight that, set this all back to the right spot, and we're going to mark up SPY. So here we go with SPY. So obviously changed a couple of the zones there a little bit. So you've got zone 1, which was this one right here that we marked up, right? So swing a VWAP from, looks like the 5th, the 6th, can't really tell because they got crap right on top of it there with the horizontal ray. But you got full ADRs, tier 2 daily cheat. Really close to including the bottom edge supply and demand, but we just, or top edge supply and demand, I should say, but we took that and dragged it down. Next up, we combined these two, moved the zone down just a hair, because the 200 is going to obviously fall. Below that, we've got trend strength, tier 1 OPEX cheats on the downside with the monthly trend guide, and then there's some structure going back to that 387 level. Then you've got TGR all by itself out there, that 382 level. You could look there, we'll double check that on the way back. And then below you've got QPP all by itself, and then you've got this bigger zone. Really think of and look at these here is divs, and do expect, again, like I said, that photo ADR and full ADRs are going to shift up. Would note again here this piece on the daily. Get the mouse here. Interesting trend line form on daily, and we'll call that there, and I'm gonna go ahead and save that off SPY. And now we're gonna flip over to the Qs real quick, and then we'll get over into the indices. Okay, so, and actually indices had a nice kind of lower edge of some stuff up into E to L liquidity, which VWAP, so came right up and tagged VWAP there, which also happened to coincide with a div that we have for Naked VA, tier 1 daily cheat. So really interesting, and I think that's a high volume node there from Friday's session as well. Looking at the Qs, need to get rid of this swing A VWAP here. This guy is clearly toast. Would keep that other one though, because it yes, it got violated here. 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, but then it had that kind of massive failure. So to me, that's not a terrible one to remove. It's a nice kind of swing AV up to keep on in my mind. So similar actually to SPY at the lows. There's kind of a couple of different zones all by themselves with data there. Make a case here, 284, which kind of lines up with supply and demand nicely. So I think would actually do this. Photo ADRs are going to move up. So let's see, this is 284, this is 286. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I think we're going to do this like this. Qs tend to overshoot just like NASDAQ, since it is a representation of it. And we have the tier 1 daily cheat down here, so I think we're going to make that a bigger zone and treat it more like that. And then separately, we're going to come down here like this, and we're going to mark off this stuff here. 288. This would be massive. This may be a later in the week type of thing. Still something we're going to keep an eye on. Above, we're at 291 now. So depending upon how we open, that could potentially could put this back in play. It'd be a double top type of setup there. Tier 3 weekly or daily cheats, tier 1 weekly, I should say. I do like this div here with the full ADR, 20-day swing A VWAP. March 6th, daily anchor VWAP is right there too. So that's a nice zone. Do like this quarterly trend guide, trend strength 1. We're above it now. We probably came up and tagged the trend guide there, would be my suspicion. I think I'd actually get rid of this div and just treat it as part of this zone here. If it's close enough, I just treat it like that. Yeah, really like that kind of there. What's this guy? 287. Yeah, I think I like that. It's a nice little structures and stuff through there. That's a nice kind of zone carve up there on the cues. I'm still looking at though there at SPY, so let me click this real quick. Okay, again, it is not into a buy-side symmetrical extreme at this point. So noting that, keeping that in mind, if we want to dig deeper and start to really set up for some interesting things. So again, we've got the div that we notated. We've got this zone, which we carved up and made a bit wider. Trend strength zone. Then we have the trend guide monthly, which we combined into one, which also had the 30-week SMA. Below that, we expanded this zone to make it interesting as well. So we're going to notate these ones that we expanded here. Okay. I'm going to save that off for our buddies over here. And just expand upon how did he phrase it. Note that fresh WS1. Yeah, I can't do that. I know what you guys are doing, but I just... The weekly is right there. But really nice multi-week reset from the bigs, noting the fresh TGR, day VWAP, lower, and MS1 structure huge for this week. Yeah, you know, he noted the cues, so I'm not going to paste those in there. I am going to put them off to the side just as for posterity purposes in my own server. Cues March 13th. Okay, so let's go ahead and move over to the indices. First, we're going to go ahead and reset to turn on the NVPOCs and naked VAs. So we have them as we start looking into the indices here. still trying to retest that that breakout there. I'm gonna go ahead and check this. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting one there. I'm gonna go ahead and take that. I know some people won't like it because it dips below that October low, but then it reclaims. I mean, it's a slight dip below, so I kind of like the way that that trend line there sits. Gonna see if it transfers at all, which I don't think it's going to. Yeah, I don't like that. That is there, but and I know some people like drawing through them, but that's just a few too many on my book. Okay, so let's see how this is most of what I'd marked up last night. Did make one adjustment this morning. Not really sure what to deal with or how to think about that div. It was pretty fucking nasty, stupid div in my mind. I mean, it did just what it's supposed to. Piss everybody off, frustrate everybody. Let's see if there's a transfer here. I don't know where it would transfer to, because that's going to be violated there. Maybe. As we tried to set a low there, but that was really kind of a higher low still, even off of the other stuff. I'm going to try it just to see shits and grins. Yeah, it kind of dick for ticked. I mean, we didn't even really touch it over here either, so I'm just going to note the other side of it. Okay, so here, I guess that kind of makes it, I just don't really care, because it came up, actually did blow through this trend guide here a little bit. So I think actually, thinking and talking it out loud, I'm going to take and adjust this up a little bit. Just capture some of these wicks and stuff here. Not going to capture all of these on the upside, just going to capture kind of candles, like opening and closing basis pieces. And capture the close of that guy there. So I have this div here that we came up and rejected. That's the tier 1 daily cheat. There's also a swing anchored VWAP from the highs right there, if I remember correctly from looking at my other screen. Yep. So pretty nice there on that. So it is looking more and more likely that we're going to go ahead and fade down. Which would be just some amazing work there if we do that. This was full ADRs. It has since moved up, so it's not really a ADR area anymore. So you're going to go ahead and just change that real quick to a regular color, not ADR color. It's still a massive zone though, with the quarterly pivots, daily trend guide reversal. You got a naked VA, NVPOC in there. Supply and demand, so a whole bunch of stuff in that area. It's also kind of the minimum ADR tier in that area. And again, yeah, full ADRs were there, but they're not anymore. And I'm not going to tell the algo to rerun because it really did a pretty good job picking things up overnight before they really got moving. So I really kind of like the way this laid out. Below that, and kind of where the ABCD is pointing. If I could get this to... I'm just going to delete it and draw it again. If I could get it to draw right. Draw. I can't because I have it set to lock after it's done. Yeah, right to that NV pot there. Right into that zone. So really kind of like that. You got a div right below, which makes me a little hesitant that you've got something such back-to-back closeness there. Let me zoom this out a little bit just to see. We'll lose some of those highs from before, but I think that's fine. Yeah, 38 to... Yeah, that is super, super close there at that 3807, 3804 to 38. Yeah. Going to draw this down so people don't get confused and stuff with it there. And then, man, if we take this stuff out, I mean, look, this would be just unbelievably massive. You got a div there, and it's, I mean, this stuff here really is kind of brink. Like, this is a major brink here in my mind. Because if we take out this area, then crap, like, 3780 is this low back here in December. Which is the bottom edge of that zone. Like, so we really, really need to hold this stuff here. Otherwise, I mean, you've got this little kind of double bottom, just probably November. FOMC or CPI really needs to think of some way to mark that detail. Along with this wick back here a few days prior. I think I'm going to note that as a possible div actually in this area here. Given that we went up and tagged the tier 2 daily sheet overnight, I don't think this would be unheard of if we came all the way down here like this. I think those are massive, massive spots in my mind that we've gotta hold. Otherwise, it's gonna get really, really messy. Yep. looks like volume overtook now too. Yeah, volume is now surpassed 5. I mean, it's just hair, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, but volume has now passed over in the June contract versus March. Still a 30-point spread. It's come down a little bit. It was closer to 40. It's now closer to 30, 32, give or take. It's still quite a large spread. We're going to go ahead and note this here for these pieces and move on to NQ. I need to zoom this just to get some of these other upside zones so we don't lose sight of them. I'm going to leave that WTG2 there. This had been the 3850s here. Got a naked VA there and whatnot. I'm not as worried about that one. I probably will come back and mark here in a second. Just need to think for another second. Yeah, I mean, so this is kind of a nice, actually, overnight low test there. It's a slightly higher low than Friday's session. Not wanting, maybe we come back and we close that naked VA in the real-time hours and then bounce from there. It's a pretty interesting block at that level. If we come and do set a higher low off of it, then it would, again, kind of line up with that trend line that we're seeing there on the bottom at the lows. So I do find it interesting, and I think we'll mark and whatnot. And then I'm going to just call out here that we are combining a couple of things. So we had combined this into a bigger zone. To include the 20-day EMA and stuff in there. It's really not quite that low, so we actually dragged it up, but we did include the 20-day, hence that's why we're marking it that way. Here we have pulled up and we are marking the WPP, if I could draw right, the WPP trend guide zone. This kind of whole block, this whole block there. So that's an interesting one. And since this is not on the screen, we're going to call out div. Why can I not? Oh, because it didn't select my text. Possible div tier 2 day sheet structure. Actually, just call it December lows. December low. So that is ES there on that side. Okay, well that, I'm typing out a few things. I'm going to go ahead and load up NQ here for y'all. And I'm going to go over here to this side. For Monday, March 13th, yes. Okay, so NQ, let's take a look at NQ here and notate its gonna go ahead and slide this There you go. So really interesting on where those are set up so far. Let's go ahead and take this trend guide zone and move it up just a hair to include MPP. I see why that's got that div there. Just thinking we really like that. Where the hell's the 50? Oh wow, it doesn't even go up to capture all that shit. Because I am looking at the wrong detail. There's NQ. Okay, so October prior swing high of 2020. Okay, so there's some structure at that 12,250 level. Supply and demand, cheat into one. Okay, I can see that. We had done this overnight. I think with how this traded, would actually bring this down here. Capture that overnight high and drag this up here like that to capture that daily anchor VWAP from the 6th. I know that's not a lot of room between those, but 99, it's 40 points, so I mean, it's not insignificant, but it's not a small thing either. Oh, that's going to be a real time hour, I think. Those are really close here. So you got trend guide at 11,733. No, I take that back. That's a pretty massive. That'd be 50 points. I do think I would treat those as separate. And if we really want to get going, I mean, another 300 points. We traded 314. We've already traded 245, so this would be a bit much to actually come down here and tackle these, but never know. And I did not mean to delete that. I meant to copy that. So those orange dots, if we remember, are the Tier 1 OPEX cheats. I'm just trying to look and see what else we got through here. Yeah, I kind of like that, the way that one's there shaping up and looking. So we've got, you know, 300 plus points marked to the upside, 300 plus points to the downside. We really need to hold this trend guide reversal at 200 points lower. I mean, that's pretty massive. The thing that concerns me is we got this possible setup here with how we've traded already overnight and stuff, and from yesterday. So that lines right up with full ADRs. Alternatively, you end up with something bigger. Like that. I wonder too if we've got a transfer trend line set up in here. Nope. Sure looked like it. I'm just looking to see what kind of structure we've got through this area here. I mean, it looks like there's over-unders. I mean, there's definitely some stuff here in this 11,800-ish area. With how that stuff's set up and traded overnight. So, and again here, the way that this kind of is setting up to me, it kind of makes me look like this, and this ABCD here lines up directly with that full ADRs there. So I mean, yeah, the way that lines up, and the fact that we're failing the swing anchored VWAP from the highs there, yeah, we pushed up and set a lower high against trend guide there. So a little late to do anything with now. Shit, still the biggest miss is that CL pop at the beginning of the night. That one really kind of stings. A good couple second chances in there too, especially if you were up around 2:30, 3 a.m. to have caught this kind of lower high there against the 20-day and everything else. So kind of like the way that NQ1 is looking here. I'm going to call it on that and mark it up. In terms of zone rating, should have done this for ES. I'll probably go back, maybe we pull that up. This is a knife catch. If we start getting down into these ones, these are knife catches, so you know, would love to call them as twos, but got to have some caution in there and smart trading and stuff. Would want to try each of these as a two normally, but got to think about it as being that kind of knife catch stuff there. So twos, but maybe not go full size, at least for me on them. Especially when we get down to that 11,587 area. I mean, now you're getting up in there into ADRs and stuff. It's really worth that shot though, because man, excuse me, we hit those, like there's gonna be a reversal, you would think, off of them. But I mean, markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay afloat. So I'd love to say this is a two and this is a two. Given the knife catch on them, if we do come down there, we'll probably just treat them with lower size. This doesn't have as much evidence as I would like. It's not even actually ADRs anymore because they moved up overnight. And this here is a one. To me, it is a low. It'd actually be a lower low against full ADRs, and what's to say not just go down and capture that at this point. So yeah, and then on the upside, I mean, I did try this on the equivalent on the ES side, and it divved up, and it was more of a div than I wanted to, and then it divved even higher actually around EU open, it looks like. So this may end up actually being a two here, because you've got the daily anchor, you've got the look set up in here, and you've got the tier 3 daily cheat. So to me, this actually I would treat more like a zone and rate as a two to take on a score perspective, and then probably one here, and then this would be a two in my mind, but be cognizant of the fact that it could go up and div to kind of collect some of the stuff here from last week. And so with that commentary out of the way, And then we're just going to note out the stuff that we combine and whatnot in there. So we actually kind of combined. No, we didn't. Actually, I take that back. Yeah, I guess we kind of did this. That area there, I guess a little bit. Not quite that high, but that is the stuff that we combined. And then here, we're going to note that we added this div. If I can select the text indicator, added div, gap fill, and epoch, ADRs, ABCD completion. And I'm sure there's something else in there too. Oh, there's structure. Structure. So that is a pretty good size zone there. Okay, NQ. Bear with me, folks. Copying things over to another room. To 2 rooms, in fact. Okay, we're going to look at RTY. Going to be quicker on this one in YM because I want to get to gold and getting some coffee. It definitely has taken out this channel, so we can get rid of that. And it's taken out by a significant force. It's not even worth keeping on there at this point. So I'm gonna mark and include this extra swing A VWAP here. That's interesting. Full ADRs kind of stayed where they were, generally speaking. We're going to drag this one down here a little bit to grab the ADRs in the end of week sheet based upon how things moved overnight. Yeah, I don't think I'm actually going to do a whole lot else in here on this one. It is stayed relatively clean. We traded 84 points yesterday. We've already traded 55. So I think I'm going to leave it kind of as it's marked up there already. We'll note we've got some structure back here at this level. Just looking left, yeah, there's actually some nice stuff right there. Yeah, I'd say there's like a freaking zone like right here. With the way all those wicks and everything else is set up, I mean, that's a 16-point zone, but to me that's, I don't know if there's supply and demand there. Yep, looks like it. Very nice. Anyways, I want to mark that up kind of the way that is there. Kind of like the how that's all set. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to leave that RTY as is there. And I'll talk about the scoring here in a second so as we mark this up. Okay, so above you've got your, we marked this zone here. This is a custom zone. So monthly trend guide, full, end of week. If we came all the way back up there, that would definitely be a 2 in my mind, be a slightly higher high over Friday. It looks like maybe that's, yeah, it'd be Friday before we sold off. It's the tier 1 end of week cheats, full ADR, obviously. OPEX tier 1, so it'd be kind of a nice rejection off of that area. So if we get up to that, I'd probably be looking for a short there. We'll treat that as a 2. If we clear that, I'm not touching anything until we get to that zone we marked above, which has got the look in that area with the 20-day, 50-day weekly trend guide. There's a naked value area in there, so that's a pretty big one. Below the zone that we're rejecting, I'm kind of skipping the WPP TG. That's a 1 in my mind, and maybe even a 0, candidly. Would have to watch and see what KRE, XBI, and stuff are doing there. The zone below that we're rejecting and not doing anything in that area there. But that's monthly trend guide, trend strength reference, quarterly pivots. There's a gap fill, swing AV WAPs from the highs there. And then beneath there, it's definitely one you're going to keep an eye on. It's your trend guide reversal zone, which has your tier 1 daily cheat, your tier 2 OPEX cheat, and it's got a prior swing high from September 4th, 2018. So that's a pretty big structural area, in my mind at least there. And then below that, you've got some good structure with December's prior swing lows, gap fill, tier 2 cheat, full ADRs, and now you're getting into your average ADR tiers there, which we're not too far off from terribly at this point either. And then underneath is where we end up with that 17-15 area div, which we expanded a bit to include WTG2. So it's probably a 1. This is a cautious 2. And this is a big 2 in my mind to try this area here in terms of how we would watch these. So with that, I'll finish marking these up. I'll move on to YM and CL and GC. And might even skip YM here. What time is it? 6:58. Crap, I missed my other stand hour. Oh, nice of you to join us, Sunshine. RTY. RTY. Let's see, I don't remember how clean YM looked. Well, it definitely didn't hold that that low that we set overnight on open, or actually at yesterday afternoon, I should say. Yeah, I guess this isn't too bad. We're just going to mark this up here. We're not going to talk through it a whole lot. Just going to mark it right as is. We are retesting that one though, so that is interesting. And I'm going to note this area right here, which is pretty much right down where we're trading at already. So I'm just going to mark this up and take it as is. Actually, I'm going to do this because I missed doing it on the other chart and it bugged me. Okay, so that's going to be YM there already, and it does look like we just want those lower zones from the looks of it on indices. We'll see if that comes true or not. Okay, so first one, pivot structure, extreme ADR tiers. Gonna lump these two into one. Then we have this WPP zone here. Then we end up with quarterly pivots, daily trend guide. I wouldn't forget this guy here. So wouldn't ignore, but isolated. It's obviously way too big to roll up and combine with anything else. So that's how I would see YM. Okay, gonna check out GC and CL, and holy crap, is that a big ass miss on CL? Damn. What a miss. Oh man, what a big miss. That really stinks. That's 400 plus ticks from the highs. And it's still fading. I mean, jeez. And look at that. Oh, that's not really the ABCD type of completion we want to see, but yeah, wow. That is just a big miss. That one really burns. It's still going into the tier 2 daily cheat now. Coming into the tier 1 end of week cheat. This is a pretty good sized zone here in my mind just by itself, but this is a knife catch right now. Like, I want to see some kind of reaction here to something, and maybe we get it there, but like, I'm not ready to reach out and try the knife catch just yet. This could be the area here though at that monthly trend guide reversal 1. don't care for this at all. I gotta look and see online here if there's something news-wise or something else before I touch this. I don't see anything news-wise. But this is into a really big zone here, actually, in my mind. But I want to see some kind of reaction from it before I touch this. This is pretty big. Sadly, our good buddy slept in and he missed all of the good live prep here. So damn, this is a big move. It's not getting up into the extreme ADR tiers yet, though. So that this is why, like, I want to see. I really want to see some kind of reaction before I start here. And yeah, I'm you know, tick for ticking, leaving it on the table. Yep, there goes ES fading more. Yeah, gonna to wrap this here today, folks. It is really starting to get interesting on futures and CL, and want to kind of dig into these and be prepared for possible upcoming trade here. So I'm gonna wrap these and call it there. So hopefully everybody has a good one, and we're gonna catch y'all later. Hopefully everybody is really good and prepped up for the day, and